Alrighty, I'd like to welcome everybody out to the April 1st, 2024 Jenkins City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ernestine.
Here.
Chuck.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Josh.
Here.
Garnet.
Here. All right, Chuck, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we're just thankful to be able to gather here tonight. Lord, we just pray for your blessings and safety over our town. And we thank you for the opportunity to be here. And we just pray that as we discuss the business of our city, we do so according to your will. And we pray for this in your name. Amen.
You'll make the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, in your packets, you've got the minutes from the March meeting. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion to approve as presented and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Alrighty, your financial reports are in there. We're in one of them months we spent a little more than we took in for the quarter, so down about 20,000 under what we sent out. That happens. Entertain a motion to approve the financial report presented.
I'll make it.
All right, we have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alrighty, AJ, we up to you pretty quick, bud.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I have a few bit of updates. There are 4 procurements out for bidding. I believe y'all are going to do them on Thursday at 6. They are for the Jenkins wastewater treatment plant, the Jenkins I&I replacement project phase 2, Jenkins City Park renovations, and Jenkins Trail development. About Jenkins City Park renovations, that was funded by Land and Water Conservation Fund, and the Jenkins Trail development was also funded by the Recreational Trails Program. So those are 2 projects that got funded. The Jenkins Trail development, RTP is wanting, and I believe Lisa sent this to you.
The letter.
Yeah, this. They are wanting pictures of the proposed project area, and once a trail plat and length has been determined, creating a site plan for the proposed trail and the specifications.
Okay, yeah, leave that with me.
What is it?
You can leave that with me because
Do you want it?
yeah.
There are also 2 resolutions, one for the hazard mitigation plan and another one for the wastewater treatment plant for CDBGDR that will be done later in the meeting. And I believe that's it. Is there any other questions or concerns from you?
I think that'll do it.
All right. Thank y'all very much. I'll see y'all in May.
All right, thank you, AJ. Man, I heard everybody take a big breath when they said that. The recreational trails one is a 80-20, so we have to come up in kind on that, but we're looking at using some of the construction when we do the water lines and sewer lines. That'll be there to help with that. The land water for the parks is a 50-50, but I'm working with some people that's going to help put the metal on the roof and do some wiring and all that, so we'll get creative enough we'll be able to make the match without having to spend much money. There's some blacktop, but the FEMA part with the culverts has to be separated out, so we're working through all that. Hopefully before Jenkins Days we'll have some of those improvements done and we'll be started up on the mountain. Alrighty, Nesbitt, are you ready?
So, first of all, we're going to the sewer I&I phase 1. The bids were over budget, like we talked about last month, but they requested additional funding, which I think he said they were working on with CRED. The City Hall ADA improvements, CDBG funding has been approved, and the assessment agreement has been issued. And they're currently working on designs and planning to bid out in about 4 months. The City Hall roof and building improvements are seeking funding from CRAD still. Wastewater treatment plant expansion and replacement, we provided the AML environmental documents, and engineering procurement is ongoing on that project. The water line replacement phase 6, which would be the town tank, is seeking funding, and the PER has been completed. And then you get your project profiles over there, same as last month, you can see there. And that's about it.
Alrighty, on the roof, we're working on a community change grant for the whole county, and I've asked for a reflective roof, which is the thing for energy efficiency and maybe solar panels with that. That's about a $20 million grant. One of the other things we're working in is trying to do a solid waste piece that, like Sevierville does, they compost the trash and get rid of a lot of their weight. It's a little early, we don't have no promises on it, but that's something we're seeking funding for to try to help take some of that burden off everybody. We were going to open bids for a generator tonight, but where we're working with emergency management funding, and we only received one bid, we're going to have to go back and get an engineer spec to make it a little bit clearer on what we're actually looking for. So that'll be included in the funding package, so it won't cost us anything. The culverts, we've got a few, and Garnet asked about the one up Dairy Hall. The contractor's in place, so I got to meet Wednesday to find out when we're going to get started on that one. And that's all I think about either right now. Randall, we've got 3 resolutions in the package. First one is a hazard mitigation, and the other 2, we need to do all 3 of those. Yeah.
Letcher County, Kentucky, City of Jenkins, Kentucky, Resolution 4124. A resolution, Letcher County, City of Jenkins adopting the 2024 Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, whereas Letcher County recognizes the threat that natural hazards pose to people and property within the City of Jenkins. And whereas the City of Jenkins has prepared a multi-hazard mitigation plan, hereby known as 2024 Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, in accordance with federal laws, including the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act, as amended, the National Flood Insurance Act of 1968 as amended, and the National Dam Safety Act as amended. And whereas the 2024 Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risks to people and property in the City of Jenkins from the impact of future hazards and disasters. And whereas adoption by the City of Jenkins demonstrates its commitment to hazard mitigation and achieving the goals outlined in the 2024 Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Jenkins, Letcher County, Kentucky, that Section 1, in accordance with local government, the City of Jenkins adopts the 2024 Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, while content related to City of Jenkins may require revisions to meet the plan's approval requirement. Changes occurring after adoption will not require the City of Jenkins to re-adopt any further iterations of the plan. Subsequent plan updates following the approval period of this plan will require separate adoption resolutions. Vote taken as follows, individualizing each council member, adopted by the vote of blank in favor of blank against and blank abstaining this first day of April 2024 by City of Jenkins Mayor and attestation by City Clerk.
All righty, Madam Clerk, well, first let's make a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Motion and second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on this one?
Ernestine?
Yes.
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Garnet?
Yes.
Okay, now we've got a CDBG DR stormwater.
Ready, Mayor? CDBG-DR Stormwater Resolution, order of the City of Jenkins, Letcher County, Kentucky, authorizing the filing of the 2022 Kentucky Community Development Block Grant application. Whereas it is necessary in the public interest that the county avail itself of the financial assistance provided by Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 and the 1981 amendments permitting the Kentucky Department of Local Government Division of Community Programs to commence a community development program within the community. And whereas it is recognized that the federal/state contract for such financial assistance pursuant to such Title I will impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the city and will require, among other things, semicolon, parens 1, close parens, approval of a satisfactory application transmitted to the Kentucky Department of Local Government Division of Community Programs, parens 2, close parens, certification of the city relating to activities such as civil rights, civil participation, relocation payments, acquisition of property, national environmental policies, and accounting practices, and parens 3, close parens, other local obligations and responsibilities in connection with the undertaking and carrying out of the Kentucky Community Development Block Grant, and whereas in those areas where acquisition and clearance is proposed, the objectives of the program cannot be achieved through more extensive rehabilitation and a displacement has been formulated. Now therefore be it ordered by the City Council, parens 1, close parens, that the United States of America and the Commonwealth of Kentucky be and hereby are assured of the full compliance by the city with certification relating to all regulations and administration of the Civil Rights Act, citizen participation, relocation payments, acquisition processes, accounting procedures, the Hatch Act, minimum wage and minimum hour provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and all requirements of the National Environmental Policy Act of 1968. Parens 2, close parens, that the mayor is authorized and directed to prepare such certification and to assure full compliance with all certifications as outlined in parens 1, close parens above, and all other pertinent regulations. Parens 3, close parens, that an application on behalf of the city for a grant that is estimated at this time to be approximately $5,289,900 of said Title I funds is hereby approved, that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute and file such application with the State Department of Local Government to provide such additional information and to provide such documentation as may be required, and to act as the authorized correspondent of the city relating to the Kentucky Community Development Block Grant, date blank, attestation blank, signature by Mayor blank.
And this is where Abby Jones's group is looking at town and trying to figure out what we can do to manage the stormwater better with the aged stormwater infrastructure we had and account for the different types of rainstorms we have to try to control the water. You know, my thing is huge culverts and a big deep creek, but that just floods your neighbors out, so we're not allowed to do that. Anyway, entertain a motion to approve the CDBG-DR stormwater resolution.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Have you rested enough to go one more?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
WWTP Improvements Resolution in the City of Jenkins, Letcher County, Kentucky, authorizing the filing of the 2024 Kentucky Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery, parens CDBG-DR, close parens 4663, close parens, application. Whereas it is necessary in the public interest that the city avail itself of financial assistance provided by Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 and the 1981 amendments permitted the Kentucky Department of Local Government Division of Community Programs to commence a community development program with the community. And whereas it is recognized that the federal/state contract for such financial assistance pursuant to said Title I will impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the city and will require, among other things, parens 1, close parens, approval of a satisfactory application transmitting to the Kentucky Department of Local Government, Division of Community Programs, parens 2, close parens, certification by the city relating to activities such as civil rights, citizen participation, relocation payments, acquisition of property, national environmental policies, and accounting practices, and parens 3, close parens, other local obligations and responsibilities in connection with the undertaking carrying out of the Kentucky Community Development Block Grant Program, and whereas in those areas where acquisition and clearance is proposed, the objections of the program cannot be achieved through more extensive rehabilitation and a displacement strategy has been formulated. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Jenkins, parens 1, close parens, that the United States of America and the Commonwealth of Kentucky be and hereby are assured of full compliance by the city with certifications relating to all regulations and administration of the Civil Rights Act, citizen participation, relocation payments, acquisition process, accounting procedures, the Hatch Act, minimum wage and minimum hour provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and all requirements of the National Policy Act of 1968, Environmental Policy Act of 1968. Parens 2, close parens, the city mayor is authorized and directed to prepare such certification and ensure full compliance with all certifications as outlined in parens 1, close parens above, and all other pertinent regulations. Parens 3, close parens, that an application on behalf of the city for a grant of up to $10 million of said Title I funds is hereby approved, and that the city mayor is hereby authorized to execute and file such application with the State Department of Local Government to provide such additional information and to furnish such documentation as may be required, and to act as the authorized correspondent of the city relating to the community of the Kentucky Community Development Block Grant Program, a date line at the station line, City of America.
Okay, this is to build capacity at the wastewater treatment plant. With the high ground sites, what we're doing on the industrial park and all that, one of the issues we run into sometimes is capacity. We're permitted 600,000 a day, and with rain, we end up over $1 million sometimes. So to get that to where we can promote the park, it's a big deal. And this is part of that big disaster recovery money. The applications were open today, and we're going to be one of the first ones in with both of those. So entertain a motion to approve the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I already have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Need to get authorization for you all to open another bank account just for KIE projects. We've had some issues with the state pulling up vendor numbers and sending money in the bank accounts we're not ready for the money to come to those accounts, then we have to backtrack and figure out where it comes from and what it goes to. So this will help clear that out. So just need a motion to open an additional banking account for KIE projects. That's Kentucky Infrastructure Authority.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I already have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty. Council got anything we want to talk about?
I want to ask something about recycling. Why do we not do recycling?
We can't afford to. I'd love to. Wise County don't do it. I've had people call me from Wise, well, if they can bring it over here.
Is the recycling center open?
It's open, but we have to take our stuff to them. And when COVID hit, we took everything in the trailer and everything we had together, and it saved us $40. Well, it was $40 worth of stuff to tip it then, when it was $50. By the time you pick it up, and then you got it there, and you load the trailer, you take it to Whitesburg and come back, we would have been in the hole. And, I wish it was more economical, but it just, there's just no money in it right
No
now.
incentives
No,
from
there's just,
anywhere?
there's no money in the recycling part of it. I don't know if Whitesburg breaks even or how they do what they do, but if they would pick it up, we could probably try it again, but if they said time we go gather up what we gather at houses, and then we get together what they got over there, and we get everything together and take it to Whitesburg, drop it off and come back, it's just,
Have anybody ever checked to partner either with Dollar General or Walgreens that palletizes their cardboard? Because cardboard's a big chunk of our garbage.
yeah, Dollar Store takes theirs back. I don't know about Walgreens, I don't know what they do.
I've seen it palletized back there, but I don't know what to do with it.
Sometimes they have contract, I don't know about here now, but some of them's got contractors come to pick those up. I don't know. I think that's about the only thing there's any money in around those cardboard, but
Well, that would help just a little. If we had a place we could just take, cardboard that's been broken down and flattened.
yeah. If it's a pizza box and it's got grease on it, they throw it away. I think they end up throwing a lot of stuff away they get to recycling center because they don't meet qualifications. But yeah, if it ever gets to the point, I'd be glad to. My son said we're supposed to be recycling. I said, well, if we could afford it, we would.
I'd like to remind people we got spring cleanup coming, so if you got stuff laying around, it's a chance to get rid of it, not fall around your house. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
Get it out and get rid of
We
it.
have all them, and then, do you remember the date? Is it the 25th, 26th? We're gonna have a pride pickup.
Oh, are you going to do a pride pickup?
Yeah, I've been
Okay, I
talking to Sarah.
talked to Sarah.
We picked a date, I think it'll be on Facebook, so we're gonna concentrate some more in the neighborhoods maybe, and if somebody needs a little help picking up or getting them started or whatever, to try to do a little more of that. So it's right in between, it's about midway of the actual spring pickup, so it'll be a spring cleanup, so. Yeah, absolutely, we've had some pretty good, well, Jim can talk to this in a minute, but the warden's been up, Jim's been talking to people, and we're getting a little more movement on getting some stuff picked up. So hopefully if they get it cleaned up, they'll keep it that way. Tucker, you got something?
Yeah, is it appropriate time?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to talk about it just recently came to my attention that we had accepted, I guess verbally would be the right term, an offer to do something to develop the property in Dairy Hollow that the city owns from, it would be connected to my property, which is the Old Country Club, to above the LKLP Head Start, correct? It's going to be used for, my understanding is it's going to be used for low-income housing from HUD, right? Not HUD, but homes incorporated.
It's projected for flood survivors, but it's not low, it's low to moderate. It meets HUD guidelines.
Okay.
So we
Well,
will be up to
basically, so I recently found out I've talked to Tom about this in the past, and, most of you are already aware of this. If you want to take a piece of property the city owns and then you want to sell it, you have to declare surplus, we have to take sealed bids on it, there's procedures that we have to follow. The loophole to that is if it's for economic development, then we can accept a reasonable offer for it. I was unaware of that, or we could probably use part of what I've got going on for the economic development. And basically what I'm upset about it because I own the property next to it, and I have a vision for that property. And my vision, I want to share this with you guys, and it's something that I've been working on for the past year and a half, but basically I own 33 acres, which is the Old Country Club property. And my vision for that is I want to develop it. And I would like to see us have some more options for some things. Me and Todd have talked about maybe having a diversified plaza there to where the people from Pikeville or people from Wise or people from wherever, they're not going to drive to Jenkins for the same old stuff, So we started with Publix grocery stores. I've been in communication with Publix for a year and a half. Publix finally told me last month that they didn't tell me no, but they told me not right now. And that answer was because they won't build outside of 60 miles of another location. So they're currently coming to Tri-Cities, and then they said they would consider Jenkins. And my sales pitch is always this when I talk to these people, it takes a lot of nerve to say, hey, you're a multi-billion-dollar company, will you please come to the city of Jenkins where we have an IGA? What my pitch is always the same thing. You can go to all 4 of the big cities around us, and you can build, 4 locations and have 4 times the cost in your projects, or you can build one in Jenkins, which is right in the middle, and people will still drive to us if we're different. And so that's kind of my vision for the property. I want one large anchor store at the main back, closest to the industrial park side of my property. And then I would like to develop that and put a plaza in on down back towards the mouth of Dairy Hollow. And so with that, if I could get my one anchor store, you know, I've been talking to Home Depot and a couple other bigger things I really just like to keep private at this point in time. But that's my plan. I'm focused on the big anchor store to start with, and then I want some smaller stuff on through there to where we could actually have some things here that would develop the city of Jenkins to where that we would have a lot more revenue coming in for tax purposes, for people, for just all the way around will help our city. Well, with the Dairy Hollow side of that, my vision was once I got that going, I could do townhouses, or there was a couple business ideas I had for 2 different businesses out there on that piece of property. So I was wanting to try to acquire that piece of property to go along with what I've currently got. And now it's going to be sold, and then we're going to get more low-income houses. And you know, we've got how many houses are we getting for the higher ground project?
115.
So 115. So, you know, I talked to Mountain Breeze. We do the lawn care service in Mountain Breeze. They have 27 vacancies right now for low-income housing. I mean, how is the city of Jenkins going to benefit for more low to middle income houses out of that good piece of property where we could end up with a couple more businesses, or we could end up with a couple townhouses? You know, I received a couple phone calls in the last 2 or 3 months. I've talked to a couple different people, okay? One example, a gentleman that I know very well from work, we work with him. He's from Prestonsburg. He got flooded. He's looking for a place to live, right? He's looked in Pikeville. Pikeville was astronomical. No one can really afford those prices now. It's a practical cost. So he looks other places, right? He ends up in Jenkins. Well, where is there? He was looking at Jenkins because the man drives for his job. Jenkins is centrally located. He could drive to all these locations where he manages all these chain restaurants. But then there's nowhere for him to be in Jenkins either. So why wouldn't we, you know, I just feel like it's better for the city of Jenkins for us to have something a little more better than low-income housing on that piece of property. Even if I'm not the one that gets it and somebody else gets it, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't agree with me as a person. 5 low-income houses for that. We're getting 115 right now. We have low-income housing. Is that all Jenkins is ever going to be, is low-income housing? Like my vision is for us to be more than that. You know, we need some middle to upper income houses. And I was unaware, it's partially my fault because I was unaware of the fact that, you know, there was that loophole that if it was for economic development, you could accept a reasonable offer, you know, and I should have known that, but I didn't. I'm young in this game and I'm just now learning all this stuff. But, you know, that's my vision. So if there was any way that I could urge the city council to not go forward with that and that we could look at other options for that piece of property, that's my point tonight. That's why I'm here.
Well, let me explain the low and moderate a little bit better than that. It's not set aside just for free houses. They pay for them. Average sale prices run between $150,000 and $170,000, so they go on assessment as assessed at that. And it's not just somebody that flooded and have nothing. If they were a school teacher, state trooper, or anybody, their home flooded, and they're in that moderate piece, and it don't take a lot to be moderate. Moderate is stretched out pretty good. So you know, it's not what you think of as just. And I'm not trying to pick on anything, but like Habitat Humanity or somebody that just comes in and builds houses and say, here's your house, you've got a little sweat equity. There's an actual mortgage on it, there is some forgiveness on the backside of it, but they have to maintain the house, they have to keep tax escrow and all that. So, you know, 5 houses up there at 170, we're looking at $800,000 in assessments. You know, one problem we got is a lot of people's got property and they've managed to get their assessments down to here. So the 20 houses in our buyout program right now are sitting on the rolls at $720,000 for 20 houses throughout town. These 5 will put assessments around $800,000 back on the tax roll. So it's, I get what you're saying, and that's fine, and this is the council, we can talk about it around and see where we're at in that process with homes. So one thing I just wanted to clear up, it's not just ultra low income. It's low to moderate, and it can be somebody that's working every day that they got flooded. You know, one of the guys at the PVA's office, he got flooded, he works every day, but he got a new house built in Thompson Branch through home. So it's a little bit different than the way they used to do things. it's a little better set up. But that's what this is about. You can come talk about it, and if we can see where we're at with it, if there's room to change. I think last day we're doing some deed time to talk about negotiations about property looking.
Yeah.
I do like you thinking outside the box and growing, Jenkins growing and bringing stuff. I mean, things like it has to happen.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with it. I mean,
Appreciate it.
to get more things, you got to bring stuff in here. It's a lot.
And you're spot on with townhouses. I mean, even up here, we're talking about maybe on the backside, even more townhouses, because that's something people are looking for.
And I don't have, I'm not a multi-millionaire, I don't have crazy amount of money that's going to take to do this thing, but I have the vision. And with the vision, each piece is going to work itself out. I don't know how long it's going to take me to accomplish something like this, but, I'm working on it. I've already started. Every time I have a piece of equipment that's not in use, I'm down there working on the property and making some improvements. That way, if I do get one of these big anchor stores to come in, they're not just going to pull up and see an old spirit shop. They're going to pull up and say, hey, hopefully they can see the potential as well. And I don't know, that's my vision, and that's what I'm working on. And, for a lot of reasons, I've got to keep it private for now.
You need to, because the incentives don't come if they announce before you ever get here. So you've got a good idea. We can talk about this meeting or the next meeting and see what everybody wants to do on that part of it and see where you're at. I just wanted to clear up the low to moderate thing. It's a little bit different than it used to be, so it's not just low, but
I think you're right on an idea that we've known for years, that we need two things here in this town. We need jobs and we need places for people to live. If we have both of those, it's going to grow. It will. And so yours would be one or the other of those. And I think we're already in the process with homes, but I don't know how far that is. Whichever one can get something going the quickest, I think would be the best benefit to the city. And whether it be homes or your businesses. So I'm all for finding that out and see what's best. And there's also dozens, if not hundreds, of old home sites here that could be torn down an old house and build a new one on it. We need to look at that a lot better than what we're doing now.
I agree with that. I was looking at Smoky Road the other day. I don't know how many houses are on Smoky Road that could be tore down, and those are actually really nice pieces of property.
But they're in the floodplain.
Yeah.
That's what we're running. Two things we run to these old houses. They're in a floodplain. It's a whole new ballgame deal with that. And the developers I've talked to, you have to have parking. The houses that stuck on the side of the hill and you're parking the edge of the street, that they won't look at that right now because.
Well, we found out that if you get two lots side by side, that would work. With two of these old houses, if you had two lots side by side, that would put a nice house with a driveway and so on.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to look at.
I feel like with the prison, I do think it's coming. I wholeheartedly believe this time it's coming. People's going to have places to live. People's going to have, whether it's Jenkins, Wattsburg, Neon, people's going to have places to live. And you thinking of townhouses and stuff like that, I mean, that's great because I'm telling you, a lot of people's going to have come in and initially start this thing. So, I mean, like I said.
I love this town. I grew up here. And somewhere along the way, we got messed up and we lost a lot of the jobs. We lost a lot of the potential. It was before anybody was ever here. This was a long time ago. But do I feel like we could restore that? I do, because, Pikeville's growing. We'll probably never surpass Pikeville because they have too much of a head start. But we can take off of their bleed over. Like the people, you've got travel nurses, you've got doctors that'll sign contracts at ARH Hospital that they need somewhere to live throughout the remainder of their contract. They don't want to live in Whitesburg where they've got only 3 different restaurants to eat at, plus the fast food stores. They would like to live in Jenkins where they could drive to Wise, where they could drive to Whitesburg and Hazard. That's our advantage, is that we're centrally located. And we have to use that if we are ever going to make Jenkins be anything like what all of us here think that it should be. And right now it's just a vision, but we've got to add some action to that vision, and we've got to start making some things happen that are going to be on that. And I know that we've been doing a lot for that, but I'm talking about myself as well, as far as my property and my vision that I have. But I also am going to need some help from the city council when these things start to happen. I don't even know what help to even ask you for at this point, but I'm just gonna let you know it's coming.
Starts here, you ask them. So, that's where it starts.
Well, there's been a lot of things over the years, and I don't even know if you know this or not. That property was this close to being a baseball field,
I didn't know that.
and one person stopped it. And that person's no longer with us. So that's why the baseball field ended up being on top of a mountain down Joseph Branch, but it was almost there. But that's a good piece of property, so.
It is, and I ended up with it by the grace of God. I mean, that is exactly how I ended up with it. The Bible says that your favor will bring you before great men, and it has me so many times in my life. And I rented that piece of property for $200 a month, and I had nowhere to run my business out of, and I rented it off TCO for $200 a month. And then Tony Sharman ended up with TCO, sent me an eviction letter, and I went down there. You know, I'm paying my $200 a month. Why am I getting an eviction notice? And he says, well, we're going to sell that place. I said, well, sell it to me if I can afford it. And we made a deal, and I bought it. And somehow, you know, I got it, and Missy Matthews got the Raven Rock property. And after that, the bonding company got flagged, and nothing else came out of TCO's possession. But we did manage to get that piece out. We've owned it now for 2.5 years. And I do have, there's a lot I would like to do with it, but it's going to depend on a lot of different factors, but I'm working on it.
Well, what I think we'll do is get together and see where we're at with homes, and next month we can talk about all of it and see exactly where we're at and where they're at and what their proposal is and where they're at in their process. If that's all right with you, we'll give it a fair look anyway. All right. Mr. Randy Thompson's with us tonight. I appreciate him coming by, and he's trying to learn what all's going on and what we're dealing with and where we're working at, because he's got an idea later, maybe being in the Senate and trying to help us out. So if you real quick want to just say a couple things.
Mayor, thank you. I didn't come to speak. I come to observe tonight, but I appreciate that. As he mentioned, I am a candidate for Senate in the 29th District, which includes all of Letcher County. And I've just been traveling around, attending fiscal court meetings and city council meetings within the district, trying to familiarize myself with some of the things that are going on, so that in the event I'm elected, I'll have a better idea of some of the things you're doing. I'm impressed by some of the plans that I've talked with the mayor about before, some of the things you have going on as far as infrastructure. I think this young man has a brilliant idea, and what I liked about it is that he wants to be different. And that's the thing that we've got to do. We've got to tear down these imaginary county walls. We got to work as a region, and we can't all have the same thing. We've got to have different things, and I'm looking forward to working with you, and I appreciate the hospitality and pleasure to meet you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim, you ready?
You see on the paper there I gave to everybody, on the trash and houses and stuff, we've kind of opened up a little bit of a Pandora's box, because now what's happening is they see me talking to somebody, they see some work started, and everybody else, their neighbor, is wanting to get that done too. The problem I'm running into is some of the complaints we're getting are houses that are still renovating from the flood. So those people I'm kind of giving a little bit extra time too, because they are renovating. Now the ones that are just being lazy, that's different. We'll take care of that. Question I did have though for Randall, I was going to get up with him here tonight anyway. Some of these people, some of these houses are owned by people that are no longer here. Should we do certified letters, sending them a certification letter so that they will be able to so we know they got it? Sure. Okay, that's what I figured.
You got a good address and absentee owner,
Yeah, sometimes that's what we're running into is it's in errors or something like that. People are in Lexington or Frankfurt or wherever, so we've got that. Two other things real quick. Mike Dingus is working with us again on evening shift, thank goodness, so I've got some help for a little bit. Also, Dorton School, as I put in the report, Dorton School asked me to come over and read to them for Dr. Seuss Week. Folks, there's nothing better than seeing these kids when you're reading them in hand, which I can just about pull chapter and verse now. And the other thing was at Birdine, I went down and talked to them. And one of the questions that one of the students asked was, what was one of the funniest things I ever had in police work? I mentioned to him about a time when we had a rhinoceros escape from a wild animal farm, and I had to help them chase it down. One little girl in the back raises her hand and said, "A rhinoceros, would that be something like a dinosaur?" I was like, yeah, obviously there's a lot of gray in this beard because they thought it was a dinosaur. So, but that was good stuff. But we are making some progress. Also, again, please, everybody out there in TV land, please don't burn. Please don't do that. I wrote 3 citations last month for burning. We were talking about the cardboard and the boxes, sports fans. That's the worst thing to burn because you get that stuff burning and the cardboard gets up in the air and it travels on down the road and it knocks your hillside. Everybody pays the trash bill. Just use that. That way you're not burning. Burn and brush, I know, is something differently, which brings up the point that I did get a complaint that I was allowing one guy to burn and this guy not to. Here's the deal with this. The guy that is clearing his land and is right there with it and has brought his own water tank, his own hose, and does not leave it at all, and does a little bit at a time, specifically to make sure he's not a problem, is much different than the one that goes out with 5 million boxes in the middle of the windstorm, lights it, and then runs downtown to go get his lottery tickets. So we have to use some common sense when it comes to the burning stuff, okay? Because we're very lucky right now. We've had just a few fires, but we still have stuff coming. So by all means, please watch your burning. Other than that, anything else I can answer you all tonight?
What nights might be working?
Theirs are gonna rotate.
Vary.
Yeah, we're gonna vary on that. We're trying to get things into where he can kind of slide in, and it depends on his schedule too. So we're trying to kind of keep it under wraps so nobody knows when he's out.
Oh.
One of the things that I really love is the fact that I can go home now.
Makes sense.
And when I go home now, I can go home. I don't have to worry about, like this morning, you called out at 4 in the morning. I can actually get some sleep, so that's kind of cool. So, and he's, you know, Mike's not as old as I am, but he's still excited about the job too, and he's having a good time being back. So
Good.
hopefully it'll work out.
We still got the sheriff's department, state police helping out. I've seen them more frequently.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've always had them, and then we try to help them out. You know, like today, I had 2 complaints I had to go help them out on, and we all try to work together. Danny Webb said one time that Letcher County is really one big police department, and that's kind of true because we all go to help each other all the time. But especially our SO, those guys are always really very good about coming out and helping out. So.
All right, thank you, Jim. We've talked about most of my stuff. One thing, once they sign the budget, we may have a couple more pieces of good news that was put in last minute, so hopefully all that works out. So we've got a lot of projects going. Thursday night at 6 o'clock, if any of y'all can be here to help grade these RFPs, don't need everybody, but if 3 or 4 of you can show up, we got 4 to do, and then I got another one coming out we'll do later, but we need to get all those in. We're trying to stay on top of these. Instead of waiting to the last day of the deadline, we're trying to get everything in the first week that these are open. So everything's headed in the right direction. Let's get cleaned up for spring. I hate to mention it, but the ATV riders, remember, go slow, wear a helmet. There's a whole list of laws now against loud mufflers and speeding and standing up and wheelies and all that good stuff that we can apply if they don't want to act right, but we don't want to hurt somebody that's riding right by people that's not. So everybody take pride in town. Let's keep moving. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Everybody say bye. Thank you.